Absolutely. Being on the same page, everybody getting accurate reports from all of the people involved. There were multiple different locations throughout the weekend. There were different groups that gathered together, and everything we saw this weekend was evolving, was changing. We as a city, and even with the sheriff, who was an excellent partner, the fire department and EMS who were here on scene responding, while we were together over the weekend and had the ability to talk in the moment, there has not yet been an opportunity for the key players to sit down, the mayor, the city manager, the sheriff, the police chief, the command staff that were on the ground. As you know, at the moment inside, the mayor is meeting with some of the organizers of the events. And so not only having conversations with people who were there on both sides, the police officers who were there, the folks who organized, those conversations are important today to have the follow-ups first, but then make sure everybody has the appropriate information. So debriefing going on at the sheriff's office, debriefing going on at the police department today, gathering all the facts and information, sharing them as a group, and you can't even begin to start forming ideas or plans or a full picture of what it looks like until you have the opportunity to get information from all sides. And simply that's what we're doing today, is we're gathering information, both statistics, conversations, and still listening.
We're very lucky in the city of Greenville to wake up to this beautiful day today and have all of our businesses intact, not mass destruction downtown. Can you give us some insight about how the city is feeling as far as the largely peaceful aspect of this weekend?
Thankful, grateful, appreciative, believing that this was a true partnership and that there were strong community forces, strong community leadership that allowed this to stay peaceful. And I'm not just talking about the perspective of a city strong leadership. I'm talking about grassroots community leaders who came out and in many cases recognized that some of the more aggressive language, more aggressive actions were from folks who did not live in our community. And so being able to talk to community leaders who are on the front lines and listening to them tell folks, calm down, this is not why we're here, you're going to get us hurt, those sorts of things. Greenville is lucky to have had the excellent leadership of Interim Chief Thompson, who, if you saw him all weekend, was with his men and women. He and Sheriff Lewis practically led the march that began yesterday at Falls Park. These are leaders who are ready and willing to be in the mix and be not only having conversations with the people who were here to protest, but be with their men in blue and their women in blue and lead them from the ground. Not from a shelter or from a radio, but be there with their folks. So having that strong leadership and, just really an amazing professionalism from our law enforcement officers who, just brought a calm demeanor and, again, great leadership, excellent organization, and ability to talk and work with people and listen and provide space and an opportunity when possible as needs changed and plans changed, to be flexible with that to a certain point when it became necessary to say at about 11:30 last night, it's simply time to go home. And there were about 50 people left last night at 11:30, and it was simply time for them to go home.
Beth, did you have any health concerns? Did those factor in at all with the coronavirus pandemic raging on, with allowing thousands of people to come protest downtown?
One of the major reasons that, or among the many reasons, I should say, that police chose to block streets and allow access to the roadway was to provide social distance. And this idea that you needed to allow people space to gather, which is outdoors and parks, clearing the streets, ensuring that there was enough space in the sidewalks. We were strongly encouraged by the number of people who were wearing masks, or that we saw wearing masks. But certainly, again, we are still at a critical point in this virus where City Hall has not yet reopened for business. Many of our restaurants and hotels are just now reopening for business. That is a concern. But we try to address it by, again, allowing for wide open spaces, whether it's outside of the Peace Center, Falls Park, for a march area, providing as wide of a berth as we could to allow people to space and give themselves distance.
We saw 89 cases yesterday reported by DHEC in Greenville County. Are you worried that there is a possible spike on the way?
Anytime there are large gatherings, whether they're in downtown or amongst people, it is still a risk we take in this climate.
Would you hope that how things happened here in the city of Greenville over the weekend and the conversation happening behind us right now in City Hall with, leaders and activists alike can serve as an inspiration for other cities that maybe aren't able to have these constructive conversations like what is happening right now?
Well, I think anytime you can view something as a learning opportunity and as a listening opportunity, you're going to make the most progress and growth. And so the fact that we can have conversations, deep, thoughtful conversations, you have to have a starting point somewhere. And if we can begin with our leaders reaching out to the folks who had the deepest concern, who felt the most connected to organizing and hearing those concerns and beginning a process to address them. You would love to think that this was something that could be fixed overnight, but it is something that has been a problem in our country for centuries. And I hope that this will be a small beginning. I hope that our city will be an example where peaceful protest has become productive conversation.
I know, Beth, you're still gathering a lot of information from over the weekend. At this point, what's the takeaway from those protests from the city standpoint over the weekend?
I'd go back to a vast majority were here doing exactly what the city encourages, gathering peacefully, using their voice. If you saw the folks at the Peace Center on Saturday, the number of cars that drove by and honked their horn in support, we want to give people the opportunities that they want to have their voice heard, and as you heard the mayor say, in their city. This is our city. It is not a race of one city or a city of another race. This is our community. And the mayor said that, very plainly in his speech. So, again, I got to be completely honest. I lost track of what your initial question was. So if you wanted to rephrase it for me, I'll try to wrap my thoughts back around.
I guess you kind of piggyback off of that. What's, moving forward, we talked about where to go from here, right,
Yeah.
with community relations and law enforcement too. Has there been any discussion about that at this point regarding Greenville City Police?
It's too early. I mean, you have after action conversations for a reason. Again, in some ways, I don't want to call this a starting point, but it's maybe a launching point to more conversations, relationships with new people that maybe hadn't had the opportunity to meet with the mayor or city leaders in the past. Certainly Mr. Wilson is somebody that we talk with regularly. Tracy Fant, we have some folks that have been community leaders in the past. We saw a younger generation here this weekend. Some folks that may be leaders of the future. And if this is an opportunity to engage with some folks that we haven't heard from before, then this hopefully is another step in the process towards making progress.